Guitar Collector Guy presents Running a Fender Mustang Rescue. I wasn't looking for another Fender Mustang, but I found one recently that was non-functional, and I got it in a trade for pretty much next to nothing. And so I went ahead over a period of time, ordered the parts for it that would bring it back to life. That included a custom wiring harness and also a new bridge pickup. And so I ordered from a company called Tone Man, who actually I found made an exact wiring harness for this guitar, as well as Seymour Duncan makes these Antiquity pickups for different guitars. And they're supposed to be exact replicas of the original, plus they aged them. I wasn't really wanting an aged pickup, but it was, to be honest with you, one of the most lowest priced options. And I figured that it'd be nice to have this guitar where it sounded like it was supposed to originally. So plus the cost of the guitar with the parts to bring this thing back to fully functional capability, the parts were about $220 together. It was about $109 for the wiring harness, and I think about the same amount for the pickup as well. I enjoy working on Mustang guitars. They're kind of like a simplified, to me, version of a Stratocaster. And, you just lots of screws, though, in the pick guards. And, really easy to replace out the components on them. And I like how they play. I mean, ironically, they were made kind of as Fender's guitar for kind of young students and so on, and people that were just getting into guitars. But it's actually a fairly well-made little instrument, and sounds great, plugged into an amp. I really like them distorted, and the electronics and everything in them are pretty straightforward and simple, comparable to kind of like almost like a Telecaster in functionality, where it has a 3-position switch and 2 pots, a volume and a tone that basically control both pickups. And the switch positions are pretty much identical to Telecaster, where up is neck, middle is both pickups, and bottom is the bridge pickup. The guitar is designed to have a working tremolo system. It's a fairly simple system. It has kind of a wraparound bridge that you wrap the strings around, and then it does go over 6 saddles that are adjustable, so you can actually adjust intonation for each string. And so it's a really good, functional, quality little guitar to work on and to play with. You can find the new models that Fender has been manufacturing out there for roughly somewhere between about $800 and $1,200 to $1,300. They're not a really expensive guitar, somebody had put into this Stratocaster, oddly enough, custom shop pickup in the bridge position that it just wasn't working, and I'll take a look at that later on and figure out what's up with the pickup. But I just, for the sake of doing something for the video, I thought it'd be kind of cool to just drop in a direct replacement. If you like this video, click like, subscribe, and notify. So replacing the wiring harness on a Mustang is pretty straightforward. You just install the 2 pots and the input jack into the chromed panel. Then the pickups and the switch are in the pick guard. The wiring harnesses are actually not that difficult to make, but in this case, I had never tried out a prefab wiring harness on a Mustang, and I wanted to see the quality and how it functioned. And once you install the new wiring harness that comes from, a company like Toneman, then all you really have to do is you have a few ground wires that you have to install to the backup one of the pots, and then you have the 4 wires then coming out of the pickups that you have to solder to the switch. And really simple, straightforward job. If you have basic soldering skills, you should be able to do this. Just follow the instructions. And the great thing is the instructions are, again, they're not really an electrical circuit, so you don't have to understand electronics for the most part. It's a visual representation of what you're replacing. The Toneman wiring harness seems to be just from what I can see so far, a quality product made from quality components. I bought it on eBay. It took about a month for me to get it because it's not something that's readily available. Toneman in particular, I guess, manufactures these when you order them, and it actually says that. So you really have to pay attention lately when you order things on eBay, because they're starting to allow people to actually sell things that are manufactured. So there's actual lead time. So you're not going to get whatever you're ordering on something like that right away. I once ordered a custom amp, and it took 6 months, before I actually got the amp. And you just have to be patient, and you have to understand when you're going in and buying something like that, that it's going to take a while. It's not something that is ready-made on the shelf. So make sure you read the ads on eBay, the items that are posted and what you're actually buying. I bought a pickguard for a Les Paul special, and I thought that it was already something that was on the shelf and manufactured, and I didn't read it. And then when I started wondering why I hadn't gotten it yet, I went back and looked at it, and it actually had a lead time of a month because it was actually being made and then shipped to me. So I did eventually get it. You guys actually saw me install it on a black Les Paul special. It was the tortoise shell, and it was a very nice pickguard. But, again, just pay attention to what you're ordering. As I said before, there's a few ground wires that you solder to the back of one of the pots. And then the next thing I'll have to work on is basically soldering the 2 pickups to the switch that's on the back of the pickguard. The switch on this Mustang is pretty close to a switch that you'd find in a Les Paul or a Gibson SG, and pretty straightforward to wire. There's 2 hot connections from the pickups, and then ground, and that's all you really have to solder once you install the new switch in the pickguard. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm soldering on the hot lead from the neck pickup. What's kind of cool is whoever owned this before had a piece of green painter's tape and actually put it in, marking where the neck pickup connection would be made. So it's pretty easy to do. The connection on the other side is the basically the lead for the bridge pickup. And this is the Seymour Duncan Antiquity 2 pickup. So it has the pushback wire, which I'm actually growing to appreciate and like using. All you do is just trim the wire to whatever length you need it, and then you just push back the insulation on it, the fabric insulation, and it exposes the wire. And in this case, it's pre-tinned wire, meaning that it's already been soldered, coated. So once I had everything soldered, before I button it up, I always plugged the guitar into an amp and then cycled the switch into the 3 positions, and I use a screwdriver to tap where the pull pieces are. And then you should hear an audible click in the amp if everything's working from the pickup. And in this case, I did. And so it saves you a lot of time, because last thing you want to do is button it all up, put strings on it, and then come to find out that, you've missed something and you got to tear it all back down and you've wasted a set of strings. Thank you for watching Guitar Collector Guy. Really appreciate you being here. Hope you come back and watch more. If you like this video, click like, subscribe, and notify.